the greatest Christmas movie
Ladies and gentlemen,
of all time.
You don't like flying, do you?
Hit theaters 30 years ago.
Tell me you got that.
Starring a comedic TV actor and an unknown British thespian.
We're both aware how little there is to choose between them.
Ebert gave the film 2 stars. Apparently, a dumb police chief undermined the whole thing.
hello, hello.
Just another summer flick following a long line of action films that have been churned out since the early 80s. Or was it? Regardless, it started pulling in money and wouldn't stop. It'd go on to make $140 million on a $28 million budget. It had spawned 4 sequels, launched Bruce Willis to superstardom,
Who wrote this thing, by the way?
and become the new gold standard for action films. One might say it's the movie that just wouldn't die. Hard. Die Hard. It's a Die Hard video. Let's go! And on its 30th anniversary, we're gonna look at how it became the greatest action film ever made.
Thanks for the advice.
Welcome to the party, pal. That's by Bruce Willis. That's pretty good. Why'd you play the Welcome to the Party, pal bit so you know how close it was?
Welcome to the party, pal!
So why is Die Hard the greatest of all time? It's simple. A Midsummer Night's Dream and French New Wave cinema. Better way to put it, Die Hard is the best because it's actually an anti-action movie. It sounds like heresy, but let us convince you how director John McTiernan revolutionized the genre precisely by going against its standards. First, what were those standards? Well, in the 1980s, classics like James Bond and Dirty Harry had given away to the uber-masculine superheroics of Schwarzenegger and Stallone. Commando, Rambo, even McTiernan's previous film, Predator.
I ate green berets for breakfast.
The films were simple and glossy, all about explosions and machismo. These guys were basically invulnerable, except their box office poll wasn't. The failure of Schwarzenegger's Raw Deal and Stallone's Cobra showed that a change was needed. Enter John McClane, a young, working-class cop. Originally written as a pure tough guy, McTiernan and Bruce Willis revised the character throughout the shoot so McClane wasn't an all-alpha male. Fear of flying, marriage troubles, self-loathing. They did reshoots after they figured the character out, like the scene where McClane bangs his head against the door frame after picking a fight with Holly. In terms of the action, McClane's character was brains over brawn.
Think, goddammit, think.
Rather than pull a Schwarzenegger and storm the bad guys guns akimbo, he ran and hid, distracting them with humorous theatrics, picking them off one at a time.
Just the fly in the ointment, Hans. The monkey in the wrench.
The character's physical vulnerability goes a long way too. When he picks the glass out of his bare feet while telling Sergeant Powell he's not sure if he's gonna make it, well, you feel for him. McClane seems real rather than invincible. But really, this is the obvious stuff, and it was immediately copied again and again. The everyman trapped in a claustrophobic catastrophe. Die Hard on a bus? Speed. Die Hard on an airplane? Passenger 57. How about a battleship? Under siege, baby! There have been countless since. Yet these movies don't come close to the original.
Good job.
This all has to do with director John McTiernan, a student of Juilliard and the American Film Academy. A man who said, quote, "Movies are really music. They're not plays. They're not photographs." Not the guy you'd expect to become the godfather of action, right?
Christ.
But in many ways, his education is what made Die Hard so good. McTiernan studied under Jan Kadar, a director of the Czechoslovak New Wave of the 1960s. Kadar steeped McTiernan in the classic European cinema, made him memorize Fellini movies shot for shot. They especially focused on the French New Wave, rebellious auteurs like Melville, Godard, Truffaut. It doesn't take a cinephile to know that there are no exploding rooftops in The 400 Blows, and though there's some cowboy references in Breathless, Die Hard it ain't. But these seminal works created the idea of La Camera Steelo. The camera is to the director as the pen is to the writer. And with this philosophy came an array of revolutionary techniques for filmmakers. McTiernan has admitted he, quote, took the technology that the Europeans developed in the 60s and started applying it to the mass market American movies. A prime example, the long tracking shot. Truffaut used them all the time. In Godard's Weekend, there's a famous 7-minute tracking shot that follows the main characters through a traffic jam, creating a unique sense of momentum and intent. When Hans Gruber's henchmen lay down the detonation cord, the camera follows the cord through the building rather than quickly cut between each guy. The effect? Well, we don't lose focus, tensions rise, and we get to learn the geography of the building itself, something that repeatedly comes back into play. There's the Dutch angle too. When McClane finally meets Hans face to face, everything's askew. It lets us know the situation is off-kilter. Side note, that scene was added during the shoot after the screenwriter overheard Alan Rickman doing an American accent.
Thanks.
The film's cinematographer was European too. Jan de Bont worked to create experimental lighting and subjective camera movement. Look at how Holly is dappled with shadow as Hans becomes illuminated in the moment he discovers she's married to John McClane. Oh man.
Mrs. McClane.
Godard's Breathless is famous for basically inventing the jarring jump cut, challenging expectations of how a narrative can move forward. McTiernan uses this to keep the audience on the edge of their seat. Like when Hans and his crew first crash the party, right? And we cut away to McClane just as the first shots are fired? We expect to see the Nakatomi employee's reaction, but McTiernan moves the plot forward with McClane instead. The same cut is used when Hans shoots Ellis. We cut to McClane hearing the gunshot over the radio. It's shocking and allows us to react alongside our hero, creating sympathy. McTiernan said that, when I broke into the business, the rule was that you weren't allowed to cut a moving camera shot into another moving camera shot. But he learned from the greats of the French New Wave that those rules were meant to be broken, like windows.
I don't have to follow him, I just need to understand him.
It was this mentality that allowed him to embrace his influences no matter their origin. McTiernan revised Die Hard's whole story so it only took place during one night. That's because of A Midsummer Night's Dream, which was also a tonal Bible for him. He wanted to make sure that things didn't get too serious, hence the dumb cops and...
We're gonna need some more FBI guys, I guess.
McTiernan's style immersed us in the action rather than distract us with countless quick cuts. His camera made moves that were motivated by emotion rather than physicality. Combine these techniques with a new sort of hero, one who's emotional, flawed, and vulnerable, and the audience was given something they'd never seen before, arguably something we have yet to experience since. McTiernan hasn't made a film in many years since, going to prison for making false statements to the FBI.
It's not accident, it's deliberate political intention.
But recently he staged a bit of a comeback, directing a commercial for Tom Clancy's Ghost Recon Wildlands. That was a fun game and you should play it. Give it a watch, see if you can spot the same techniques at play. But don't be surprised if you find yourself totally caught up in a story instead of...
Yippee-ki-yay, mother...
That's it for this video. Hey, have you noticed how we didn't try any of that bullshit of hey, is Die Hard a Christmas movie? Cause it's a fucking Christmas movie! Leave a comment about some of our really well-researched stuff about how Die Hard is fucking great through French New Wave, okay? Just do that. Don't talk about Christmas. Hit the bell. See you next week.